instalment of International Marketing News. For tonight's edition, we will be reporting on Colombia. Headlines will include Colombian business culture and buying habits, 5 facts in politics, market size and growth, including economic development, and finally, we'll be talking about technology and distribution. Colombia is nearly 5 times the size of the UK, with a population of 47 million. Its economy is currently 33rd largest in the world, with primary commodities remaining its main exports, in particular oil, coffee and metals. Colombia also has a large range of British companies operating within the country, including financial and environmental services. Now we will go over to our business culture correspondent Mark to discuss culture within the Colombian business environment.
Before conducting business in Colombia, you should be aware of the local customs that need to be taken into account. Colombia's business culture varies across the country. In the major cities, the business culture is more formal, often more so than in Europe. In smaller cities such as Cali or those on the north coast, the culture is generally more informal. In all cases, establishing personal relationships is essential to conducting business. The first time you meet a woman, it is generally acceptable to shake hands. But if you have met a woman before, it is acceptable to kiss her on the right cheek. Once you have met her several times and have built a relationship with her, this will be expected. When arranging a meeting, it is advisable to provide the Colombian company with the subject of the meeting in advance, although only limited detail will be required at this stage. Punctuality is frequently an issue in Colombia. If you will be late for a business meeting, you should phone the Colombian company to advise them. Colombians generally expect the British to always be punctual. Meetings can also be lengthy affairs. It is normal to exchange business cards at the start of meetings, although in restaurants or business lunches they should be exchanged after the meal. Colombians usually take holidays during Christmas, New Year and Easter week, so try to arrange your visit at other times. It is also a good idea to try and have one side of your business card translated into Spanish. Include any university degrees or qualifications as this is valued. Also, make sure to treat business cards with respect. When it comes to buying behaviour, a minority of the Colombian population, usually 20%, has a high purchasing power. The price is the most important consideration for most of the Colombian consumers. Colombian household consumption mainly concerns primary needs and education. Colombians are strongly influenced by mode, brands and promotion, but there is also a strong influence of traditions on consumption habits.
Thanks Mark. Colombia is considered one of the most politically corrupt countries in the world. Not only is it important to consider their culture values, but how business is also practiced within this area. Here are the need-to-know top 5 political facts in Colombia for a UK and Ireland-based company. Colombia ranks 94th out of 176 in the Corruption Perception Index. Political corruption includes drug trafficking, paramilitary conflict and unethical behaviour. Pablo Escobar is one of the most notorious and wealthy Colombian drug lords who also had a short-lived career in politics. It is normal for politicians to carry out unethical behaviour within business, such as accepting bribes and extra costs for their own benefits. In 2014, Ecopetrol found themselves at the centre of controversy when it was revealed an executive had taken a bribe from 2 former CEOs of Petro Tiger Limited in order to secure a $39.6 million oil servicing contract. This kind of corruption has been steadily rising since 2009. Much like Ireland, Colombia's politics is marked with extraordinary violence, as citizens resort to arms to resolve political differences. In recent years, peace talks have taken place in order to restore political peace within the country. President Santos encourages peace, equality and education as the 3 pillars of the new administration. Colombia's foreign debt remains one of the country's main weaknesses. The external debt rose to an estimated $35.1 billion and is expected to keep rising. Although Colombia has been synonymous with corruption throughout its history, this trait has begun to take a turn in recent years. Earlier in the week, I met up with Maria McGarvey to discuss the issue. Hello Maria, and thanks for joining us and welcome to the show. This week we're focusing on Colombia. Would you like to tell us a bit about how the market's grown over the last number of years?
Well, Deborah, from its position as a declared failed state in the 90s, Colombia has turned into the most stable growing markets in Latin America. The economy grew 6% in 2011 and 4% in 2012. It has been highlighted by the World Bank as a top performer in 5 of the last 8 years. In the past decade, Colombia's market has been growing faster than the rest of Latin America. During 2013, the sectors that grew the most were construction, social, common and personal services, agriculture and mining.
Those are some very impressive facts, Maria. Do you think that the Colombian and EU free trade agreement has benefited Colombia's market?
Well, Deborah, in March 2013, the Colombia-EU Free Trade Agreement was signed, which reduced the barriers to trade between EU countries and Colombia. This helped Colombia in many ways as such, delivering jobs and growth in Colombia that will ensure the economy keeps growing, providing access to Colombian producers to a consumer market larger than the United States and Japan combined, providing immediate tariff-free access to EU markets for 99.9% of Colombia's manufacturing, industrial goods and fishery sectors, build partnerships with international celebrities that can support Colombia's progress in promoting human rights and trade union rights, highlights Colombia's leadership within Latin America and strengthen Colombia's ties to a leading political power in the world. The agreement will bring measurable benefits to all parties by promoting growth, jobs and increasing the global competitiveness of the European Union and Colombia.
Some very interesting points there from Maria. Next up, we have Gareth to expand further on Colombia's economic environment.
Colombia is now the third largest economy in Latin America after Brazil and Mexico. Colombia is also the third largest oil producer in Central and South America and has the fifth largest proven reserves in the region. Over the 5-year period from 2007 to 2011, Colombia's oil production grew by 70.5% and the energy sector is now playing an increasingly important part in the country's economic development. With 20% of government revenue coming from oil, the fall in oil prices in 2015 is affecting the country's continued economic recovery. Since 2010, Colombia's average GDP has been 4.7%. However, due to the uncertain prices in the oil industry, Colombia's economy will face an uncertain and challenging 2015. Expected GDP growth for this year has already been reduced from 4.8 to 4.2% by the government to reflect these challenges. Colombia is a great example of a new frontier for business. It has advanced cities, a strong financial system, and a growing consumer class, but it also has vast untapped resources in underdeveloped regions. In 2014, Colombia's GDP stood at 24% above 2008 level, showing huge growth levels in its economy. Currently, Colombia's main concern is its infrastructure, as it is stagnating growth, ranking 92nd in the world according to the Global Competitiveness Index. However, the government are now embarking on a $27 billion spending programme in order to raise the quality of infrastructure within the country. In the long run, this should increase productivity within the country and make Colombia more competitive in the global market. Operating in Colombia is not without its risks. Institutions are weak in particular with regards to the regulatory process. Environmental and social permits can take up to 18 months to secure, leading to mining, oil and gas exploration activities being continually stalled. Ongoing security issues and corruption are also key concerns. These significant concerns can be daunting, however risk mitigating solutions are readily available. Government policy should seek to promote productivity across the economy, notably through the education and training system. Policies are also needed to further improve transport infrastructure, grow private investment, reduce barriers to entrepreneurship, improve access to finance and strengthen the rule of law to ensure better contract enforcement and less corruption.
Thanks, Gareth. Next up, we have Leonie Marshall reporting on distribution and technology within the Colombian borders.
With Colombia being a very big country and also not the wealthiest, most of the cargo that is imported and exported into the country is done by road. Statistics show that 70% is by road, 27% is by rail, 3% is by internal waterways and 1% by air. It is one of the lowest countries that has unpaved roads. They have upgraded their air and water travel and it is the only means of transport for 40% of the country. Colombia has a very substantial amount of airports within its borders. Most of these are not international airports, There are 11 international airports. There is also a lot of city-to-city airports that do not have paved runways, which would not be good if you were carrying high-quality goods. Colombia also have 11 main ports within their coastlines. Of these, 4 of them are cargo docks. This could be a viable distribution channel for a business that transports gas in the UK or Ireland, as you can travel to Belfast, Galway or Dover. The only downfall would be that it can take up to 16 days to get to these places. On the other hand, if a company wants to supply a neighbouring country, you can use a pipeline service. Colombia used to use rail transport often for exporting cargo, but this has decreased over the years as it is very underdeveloped with only a quarter using it today. The government wants to fix this railway problem, so it could be beneficial for a company to make a deal with the government to help fix it and use it as their mode of distribution. Colombia has 3 main north-south highway roads called Caribbean, Eastern and Central Truck Highways. These are mostly used by companies transporting goods. There are fewer than 15% of roads unpaved in Colombia, although in 2005 it was recorded that 68% of the roads were no one paved, as this could be due to government spending money on new roads, but have still not fixed the other roads. This is also cost effective, and 3/4 already use it for cargo shipping. Since Colombia has been liberalised in 1991, they have grown rapidly in the telecommunications sector, which has had a major impact on technology as it has added new services, expanded coverage, improved efficiency and lower costs. Internet is increasing rapidly in Colombia, with 87 out of 1,000 people purchasing computers and installing internet into them, although it is still lower than other Latin American countries. The use of mobiles to search the internet is increasing, with dial-up internet dying out. With all this said, there is a massive difference between rural and city-bound places that have access to internet. Colombia has relatively high competition in the TV sector, which has meant that they can serve larger towns and cities. The systems that they have are Intelsat, 11 domestic satellites, and a nationwide microwave radio relay system, so this can help improve companies' coverage and promote themselves.
That's all we have time for today. If you would like to see this again, you can find us on YouTube, or if you would like to find out more information, you can refer to our final written report. Thank you very much. Until next time.